Hey, this is Reverend Joanna Bartlett, and in this video I'm going to share with you kind of my thoughts, my review, I don't know, things I have to say about this book, Expressive Writing, Foundations of Practice. I've picked up a whole bunch of books. This is actually a library book. I didn't buy this one, but I have this giant um, pile, my bookshelf over there. I've got a big pile of books about writing as a way of healing, expressive writing, depth journaling, that kind of thing, writing as a way to move through pain and loss, because that's something I'm really focused on at the moment, it seems, working with grief and loss and that kind of thing, difficult childhoods, adverse childhood experiences, that kind of thing. And this is one of the kind of recommended foremost books, I think, on this topic. Kathleen Adams has certainly done a lot of work around expressive writing. And there were three things that stuck with me or that made an impact on me with this book. The first one is a method of writing, of journaling, in which you write about the thing, and then you write a reflection about your experience of writing. And I've started incorporating that into some of my own journaling, not all the time, but at certain times. Sometimes I just want to write and journal, and that's a helpful thing for me to do, is to express those thoughts and emotions and that kind of thing. And I don't always want to then reread what I've just written and reflect upon it. But it is an interesting, and I can definitely see how that can be a very useful process. The second piece is one of the chapters in here talk about different ways of journaling and writing, different ways of structuring it, and Kathleen Adams writes about the journal ladder and those kind of different ways, depending on how comfortable you feel with writing or what you're trying to do, what you're trying to create from the writing, the journaling that you're doing, that you can use these very structured, like sentence stems, where you just, you fill in the blank of the rest of the sentence. Today I feel whatever, or whatever that beginning prompt is, to all the way to a free write, and lots of different other ways in between. And the third way, actually I have it as a note on my phone, I need to pull that up now. The third thing was there's a chapter on poetry by Richard Gold, and especially working with at-risk teens and writing poems. And it really brought me back to when I was a teenager and was going through some difficult times in my life. And I spent a lot of time writing poetry. It really helped me express what was going on within me when I didn't have other words for it. I didn't have other ways to really say it. I didn't feel free enough, I think, to write about it kind of in long form in my journal. But these emotions and these things could come up and come out of me in my poetry. And there is one passage in here that I took notes on, that it also, for me, it connects with work I do around grief recovery, and why the grief recovery method is so successful and such an amazing way of moving through grief and finally healing the pain from loss. And Richard Gold writes, it's in chapter 8, when teens write from the heart about a terrible experience, the experience becomes externalized and concrete. The fog of shame and confusion lifts, and the experience is objectified as a real, though often painful, event that can be better comprehended emotionally and cognitively. Essential to this comprehension are the emotions that teens include in their writing. We believe that it is this ability to integrate honest feelings with a terrible experience that brings the healing power of the poem to the poet's author. And that, to me, captures a lot of the essence of grief recovery work, where you are emotionally honest with a process that you're going through, and you connect both the experiences you had and also the feelings you had about them, and by bringing those up and bringing those into your kind of your cognitive self, your emotional self, it actually allows the healing to happen. So I love it when I read books that kind of make these different connections with other aspects of my life. I think, first and foremost a writer. It's what I've done professionally for the last 20 years, and no matter what work I've done, there's been writing in it, and it still continues to be. So this was this. If you are interested in learning more about writing for yourself, or if you are a teacher or educator or counselor, therapist, expressive writing has some. Each chapter is by a different person. It's a couple by Kathleen Adams, it's edited by her. But each chapter has different ways of working with writing, as in order to heal, in order to move through a healing process, to use it as part of a healing process. So that is what was my take on what this book is all about. I hope it's been useful to you. If you like, you are welcome to connect with me on Goodreads. I will put my a link to my Goodreads profile or whatever it is on there in the description, in a link to that, so that you can connect with me on there if you like, and we can see what each other is reading. I have a long list of books I'm currently reading and that I also want to read, and so having a little bit of accountability is kind of good for me too, so that those books don't say on my to read list or am reading list for forever and ever. I'll see you. Bye.